Hi guys, so today we're talking about the next Sarah Dessen book, Dreamland. We talked about keeping the moon before. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say Happy New Year. New Year, same shit. That's what we always say on this channel. Dreamland. I'm gonna read the little thing back here and then more of a comprehensive list, but so let me just read it, we'll get into it. Love can be a very dangerous thing. After her sister left, Caitlin felt lost. Then she met Rogerson. When she's with him, nothing seems real. But what happens when being with Rogerson becomes a larger problem than being without him? That doesn't sound good. Let's see if this sounds better. Wake up, Caitlin. Ever since she started going out with Rogerson Biscoe, Caitlin seems to have fallen into a semi-conscious dreamland where nothing is quite real. Rogerson is different from anyone Caitlin has ever known. He's magnetic, he's compelling, he's dangerous. Being with him makes Caitlin forget about everything else. Her missing sister, her withdrawn mother, her lackluster life. But what happens when being with Rogerson becomes a larger problem than being without him? So, this book, you know I love Sarah Dessen. And I love just the way that she writes. And I've loved every other book I've read by her. This one, I have to say, is the worst book. Not because of how it's written. I was not warned about this book before I read it. This book should not be read by DV survivors. The relationship in this book between Rogerson and Caitlin is very triggering. Do not read this book. I was not warned. I was so completely triggered. I spent the whole morning after reading it crying my eyes out. Do not read this book if you are a DV survivor. It's not a good idea. You can read any of our other books. That Summer, Someone Like You, Keeping the Moon, This Lullaby, the one I'm on, The Truth About Forever. You can read any of those, but do not read this book. I regret buying this book. I regret having it because of how triggered it makes me. I can never read this book ever again. I just can't. Like the drug references in it, that's not really triggering to me just because I've only been around like people that used weed all the time. So when they talk about weed, I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like weed doesn't bother me, but you know, like there might be harder drugs mentioned that I've forgotten. So if you do not like that, you wouldn't like this book. I don't want to give this book a bad rating because it's written very well, but just how triggering it is gives it a low rating for me, and I recommend it. Well, I don't, because I don't even, I recommend her books to you, but this one I'm saying might not be the best, and you might want to skip this one. Even though you're supposed to read them in order, I say skip this one. Yeah. But you guys obviously out there, you can make your own decisions. I would just put a huge content warning before you read this book. If you're going to, I would make sure you're in a good headspace before you read this book. It deals with something very serious, and I don't want anybody reading this book and, you know, like getting in a bad headspace. This is still in the books I recommend series, but this might be the only one named books I don't recommend. But again, if you want to read it, it's your life. You can make your own decisions. If you want to read it, go ahead and read it. But I recommend all of her other books. Especially Someone Like You. That was a really good one. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.